Live from Santa Barbara, welcome to Compassionate Connection. I'm your hostess, Gigi Amour, and the purpose of our show is to share with you how to connect compassionately within ourselves and with others when we choose to really gain this knowledge of the language of nonviolent communication, the language of peace. We can transform and enrich our lives and our relationships. Now, this is something that I have great passion for, and that's why I'm just suggesting you check this out. And one of the ways that you can is by looking at this book by the founder of this language of peace, Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. This is his most popular, favorite, most best-selling book throughout our globe. It's now in 24 languages and in 65 countries and growing worldwide. So with that being said, I just think this would be very empowering for you. Now tonight I have a very special guest with us, and I'm so thrilled that she's traveled around the world and we finally have her back here for a few minutes to share with you. Welcome, Mary Raymaker.
Oh, thank you, Gigi.
And the drum roll begins, right? Now, a little bit about Mary. Mary is a shaman. She's a spiritual revivalist, and she can help people get over these emotional, heartfelt wounds that they've experienced in their lives, from anywhere from, any type of trauma that they've taken in, so to speak, and release that so that they can become their highest potential self. And that's why we're going to talk about being the very best that we can be. With someone like Mary's help, it's absolutely possible to live the type of life that you really want to. So I wonder now, Mary, if you'd be willing to tell us a bit about yourself and all these years you've put into this.
I'd be happy to do that, Gigi. I feel like I'm a walking example of what the human potential is, because I have had a dysfunctional childhood, like pretty much everyone that I met on the planet. I know I'm not alone. And it doesn't matter what part of the world. People are in dysfunction right now. It's been passed along generation after generation, and it's like each generation has gotten worse and worse. The problem that we're faced with right now on the planet is people don't see a way out. So my story is that I had this dysfunctional childhood. I was raised in the Midwest in a family with good values, but my father was a tyrant. So I experienced a lot of emotional abuse and verbal abuse that I was surrounded with, and I ended up hating him for it and resenting. It's bad enough to have one, but it's a bad combo, as somebody I've worked with has said. So I had always heard that to have a better life for yourself, go to college. So I was determined I was going to go to college. My father was a farmer, and he worked in a factory. Nothing wrong with that. But because I had been drilled with growing in school that to get a better life, go to college, I decided I was going to college. So that was going to give me my road to happiness. Well, no, it didn't. And I know I'm not alone. Many people, the reason I'm sharing my story is because I really feel like there are people that will be able to identify, oh my gosh, that sounds like my story, or I've thought that also. So I get to college, I get out, I get a job in a stable job. I'm a banker. And I'm married to my my college sweetheart. So I'm going to have the life of my dreams. And we get a home in the suburbs, which, coming from a rural area, the suburbs were like the ideal place to live. Oh my God, that was death. I was miserable. So everything that set me up for, oh, this is what's going to make you happy, and this man that was like the dream guy, I was miserable. And there was nothing wrong with him. It's just that what I thought was going to be a happy life, I was not happy in. My soul felt like it was starving. So what do? You get rid of the job that doesn't work, and you get rid of the husband, even though he's a nice guy. He wasn't making me happy and fulfilled because, of course, this is all outside of me.
Perfect.
It's nothing going on with me. It's never me. So then the next one, I met a man who's an investment banker, so we're talking big dollars. He made lots of money. And I got a job where I'm my own boss. I became a financial planner. So I became working for someone with a job that had very low income to a job where unlimited potential, and I was the rookie of the year. I was a star of the company. I did super well. So now lots of money, lots of travel, lots of toys. And once again, I was extremely miserable. We're living in the right neighborhood, going out with the right people, doing the right things. Success, as you know, most people think of success. And the reason I was miserable is because my soul could not stand the superficial lifestyle. Nothing wrong with him. We weren't doing crazy drugs. We weren't doing, anything that was illegal. We were doing everything legit, but my soul couldn't stand it.
There was still an emptiness within you that was hard to identify, but now you know.
Now I know. I didn't have a lot of words back then. And he was really a great guy too. I mean, he was not terrible to me. In fact, he really treated me rather well. But the problem I had is he had a lot of characteristics that were like my father. So when he'd start acting a little bit like my father, I'm reacting just like I did in childhood. So once again, it's him. He's making me upset. He's making me angry. What you're doing is making me angry. And I'm yelling. And I'm not a yeller. I was raised in a home with a lot of yelling, but I'm actually rather peaceful by nature. But it's like being with him just brought out this side that, whoa, watch out.
Yes, where's this coming from? So you began to question things, I'm imagining.
About that time is when I started to question things. So then I went into my first therapy session, and this began my road of how do I deal with these emotions that are really getting out of control. So that's when this is my father issues. Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess I need to start dealing with this. Did end up breaking up with him because it really was, my soul was miserable in the superficial lifestyle. Now, if money was going to make me happy, that would have been the perfect place to stay, because that would have been like the ultimate in happiness then. And now I'm getting therapy to deal with the childhood stuff, but I couldn't do it. So then I go from there to God. I find God again. I was raised in Christianity. I was raised in Catholicism. And I got away from it because there were things that I didn't agree with or believe any longer. And then when I rediscovered God, that's probably a lighthearted way of saying that God really came back into my life in a really big way. So now everything's going to be great. Well, having God back in my life was a very great foundation. But all these old emotions, they did not go away. Finding God and being spiritual and going, getting into a routine did not get rid of those emotions.
You were still torn inside.
Torn. So it's like you're getting you don't do, the anger thing, Mary, because that's not a good way of being a Christian, versus my insides were raging. So then let's try drinking. Because I'm working in an office as a financial planner with a lot of young people, and I found God, so I'm happy on that end. But because I've broken up with this man and this whole lifestyle that I was living is now crumbled, let's try this lifestyle. Because I went to college in Madison, Wisconsin, which is